Keep calm, UK fight fans. Don't worry. Dana has said we are days away from an announcement. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Against the Fence, where, of course, you know this is the place to be if you're obsessed and passionate about the UFC. And we are going to be building our ideal UFC 304 fight card during this news show. That's right. I think it will be UFC 304 when the UFC decides to come to the UK. We still don't know if it's going to be Manchester or London. None of that's been confirmed. But of course, the rumour mill for quite some time now has been Manchester. So we're going to build the fight card. I've got a ton of fights that we can go through and make. And then at the end, we'll round off with our ideal main card. But let's unpack some of the news from today, because first off, we got the announcement this morning, UK time, that Arnold Allen will be fighting Giga Chikadze, and that fight is booked for July 20th without a location. Then later on, TNT Sports released an interview with Dana White and Adam Catterall, where he basically confirmed that the UFC will be returning to England and putting on a pay-per-view card. He name-dropped the likes of Leon Edwards and Tom Aspinall as being, of course, the UK's champions at the moment, and the fact that they could be on the card. A quote from Dana said, "I've got great fights lined up for the UK fans, and I'm excited to get back there. Literally in days, we will make an announcement. We're right there working on this stuff. We've got some badass plans for England. Numbered card, pay-per-view, a great one." So lots to go through here. Who's going to be the main event? Who's going to be co-main event? And who's going to be on the card? My guess is that the main event will be Leon Edwards versus Belal Muhammad. I think that's the fight that makes the most sense. Of course, a while back we had rumours that Leon Edwards was going to be fighting at UFC 300. It wasn't going to be Belal Muhammad. It was going to be Islam Makhachev or Shavkat Rakhmonov or Khamzat Chimaev. But neither of those options were possible. Leon Edwards has been shelved. I thought that perhaps maybe they might bring in Leon for either 302 or 303. But none of those plans seem to be going ahead. Nothing's been said yet. Let's go, Breezy. I see you. Get your questions in the chats as well, guys. It'd be interesting to get through some questions. Any questions you want to ask me, opinion-wise, etc., etc. But yes, we've been waiting for Leon Edwards versus Belal Muhammad. I think this fight is the most perfect one to have on UK soil. Now, this wouldn't be the first time that Leon Edwards has fought a wrestler on home soil. Of course, Leon Edwards, I mean, his wrestling's pretty good. He's got good defensive wrestling. We saw that in the Leon Edwards fight. But we would probably say it's his weakest skill, perhaps, being on the ground, right? What's Belal Muhammad's strongest skill? Being on the ground. Put the fight in the UK. Who benefits it the most? Leon Edwards. So, with the crowd roaring, getting behind Leon Edwards and affecting Belal Muhammad, I think, it's going to be a tough away day for Belal. Prediction so far. So I'm hoping this fight is the one to get made. The co-main event, questions lie at the moment. Does Tom Aspinall defend his interim title in that slot against Curtis Blades? Well, in fact, I think a quote from Dana White during that interview on TNT Sports said, "Jones is set to fight Stipe. I hope the winner of that fight will get to fight Tom, but it's not right to let Tom sit." He also said, "If Tom wants to defend the interim title, we'll absolutely do it." Now, I had feelings about this fight that whether or not the UFC would try and bend Aspinall's arm behind his back and make him defend that strap because they need to put on fights. I think we, in a way, was perhaps murmurings were going around that maybe he would have defended it at UFC 300 against Alex Pereira. That's not happened. You've got Curtis Blades has emerged as a contender again because he's beat Jonathan Almeida, who was absolutely running through people. So, an impressive fashion as well. TKO victory. So, a rematch with Tom is now basically on the cards. Blades called out Aspinall in his post-fight interview and said that, he wanted that rematch, even though he got the win, but it was due to an injury. And Aspinall did respond saying that he was kind of keen to do that fight. Now, I didn't really like the idea of Aspinall defending the belt because he's earned his spot for the actual belt. And I feel that Aspinall should wait out for the winner. But that could be some time. A lot of time. I also feel that the UFC during International Fight Week could put on Jon Jones versus Stipe. I got a feeling they might wait out a little bit longer for this because we're going to get the return of Conor McGregor, which seems to be even more likely now, towards the end of June. Now, when you look at the UFC calendar on Wikipedia, it's got 2 pay-per-view events in June. Last year, we had 2 pay-per-view events in July. Do you really think the UFC would put Jon Jones headlining one pay-per-view in June and Conor McGregor headlining another pay-per-view in June? 2 very close together. I don't think so. So the likelihood is that Conor will probably headline against Chandler in June. I think another fight will probably be booked for the pay-per-view before that, early June. Not quite sure. Could it be the one Ilia Topuria in Spain, perhaps? I think it would make a lot of sense. Breezy says, reckon Mike Ox-Brown makes his debut. I mean, it's not Brown though, is it? I think you should do better than that, buddy. I'll read it out anyway, so I don't care. Yeah, maybe. Mike Oxlong will though. He definitely will. Back onto this. Who else will be on the card? Do you think Michael Venom Page will be on there? Who will he fight is the question. Now, we went through in the last Aftermath show that we felt that perhaps it could be Jeff Neal, or could it be somebody else? I think someone like Gilbert Burns could be a possibility. Tough fight, of course, for MVP. But Burns, when you look at Burns from a UFC's perspective, he's fallen off a little bit. He's on 2 straight losses in a row. It's not gone well for him. We've probably seen the best of him in the octagon. So if you're the UFC, you want to create another contender, you do MVP versus Gilbert Burns. Burns, of course, has been a former title challenger. So that puts him kind of in the mix should he get a win. And leapfrogs, I think, does he leapfrog Ian Gary? Because Gary's up there, right? But he's, I think Burns is above him. Yeah, Burns is just above him, right? Ian Gary doesn't want to fight MVP. He said that because he doesn't want to fight anyone down. But I think Ian Gary should bite the bullet and actually fight down for once because he's not been finishing guys. Yes, he's undefeated, but he's not been finishing people. And I really want MVP to leapfrog in the rankings because then all of a sudden that fight is now appealing to Ian Gary and MVP should just completely turn him down. That's my opinion. So I would give him, Gilbert Burns would be my strongest option. The Jeff Neal fight doesn't give him too much jump in the rankings. Jeff Neal is in at number 10 at the moment. So I think Gilbert Burns would be a better fight for him. I think that the UFC would probably want to do that. Who else do we want to see on the card? I want to see Nathaniel Woods. Got a great fight for him. I think you guys will love it. I'd like to see him fight Billy Q. Just come off of a loss, of course. Does he want to get straight back in there and fight in the summer? I think he probably can do. Tough to... he got submitted, didn't he? It was this past weekend. I can't even remember what's happened. Rear naked choke round 2. So I'd imagine there's not much injuries there. A quick turnaround. Well, I say quick turnaround. Okay, it's months away. But I think a Billy Q Nathaniel Wood fight would be absolute fireworks. Smash a like on the video if you are into that fight and you think it's a good choice to make. Breezy says, reckon they should fight each other, to be fair. Are you on about Jeff Neal and Gilbert Burns? Yeah, you could be right in that one. Jeff Neal does... I think he's coming off a loss, though, isn't he? That's the only issue. Or, for Nathaniel Wood, the alternative option I have would be the winner of Damon Jackson versus Alex Hernandez, which I think that fight is happening not too far away. So I think those options are really strong. I personally would favour the Billy Q option, although Alex Hernandez actually stylistically is a strong one for Nathaniel Wood. Both guys are very similar in a lot of ways, although I think maybe Nathaniel Wood's got better grappling than Alex Hernandez. So both guys can crap. They've both got power as well. Next up, I think we want to see Paddy Pimblett on the card. The problem with that is, I mean, they should bring him back to the UK, really. His last fight was overseas. I think his last two have been overseas in the US, and they wanted him to bring him over there. But look, if you want to stack this card out, you put Paddy Pimblett on there, and I think you want to put him in there against Drew Dober. Shout out to Aaron for that choice. I did see that earlier on. But yeah, I think it gives Paddy a crack at somebody in the rankings for once. Dober's currently in at number 15 there. Paddy, of course, coming off of the win against Tony Ferguson, so you got to fight up really. Because he's not ranked, so I think he's knocking on the door for it. I would also like to see Molly McCann in there. Got two excellent options for her. I'd like to see her against Poliana Viana or Jessica Penne. Jessica Penne, of course, is a fighter who's got quite a lot of experience, coming off of 2 straight losses. She's fallen on hard times. Poliana Viana, I think, she's come off a loss as well. Or 2 straight as... No, 2 straight for her as well. But of course, let's not forget that Molly McCann has just gone down in weight class, and is coming off of a win. These girls, I think, have fought, they've been around for a little while now in the UFC. So I think either of those matchups would be better for her, for McCann. I mean, as I'm not, I don't think neither girls are any slouch by all means, but I think either way it should be a good fight. But real talk, getting Nathaniel Wood wheeled out, absolutely so. Breezy says Molly will probably be on it. Yeah, I mean, I think we've got to get Molly and Paddy back on the UK cards, because the UK cards haven't been that great as of recent, really. I mean, other than the pay-per-view last year in March, but the one in July was a little bit lackluster, and I think it really needed Paddy and Molly on it. So yeah, that would be my guess. The Liverpudlian powerhouse back on the same cards as Sai, so he's all in for it as well. I'd like to see Jai Herbert fighting Trey Ogden. Trey Ogden's recently come off a win. I think that'd be a intriguing one for him. Tough one for Jai against a grappler, though, mind you. I think I did have other options in there for Jai, but I haven't written them down. I'd like to see our boy Modestas Bukauskas back on the card. Now, of course, we're going to be meeting up hopefully soon with Modestas within the next month, so we're going to quiz him on whether or not... Because I think it's time for him to come back and fight on a UK card. He's talked about it with us, about really wanting to walk out to the O2 Arena. I think now's the time for him to do that. The option that I've given for him is one that I've mentioned to him previously in the last Q&A that we did, would be Marcin Prachnio, who, I think he's coming off of a win against Devin Clark, which is pretty impressive. Devin Clark's been around for a while. Prior to that, he did lose to the guy that Modestas last lost to as well, in Vitor Petrino. So I think that's the reason why that fight would be quite intriguing. Prachnio's got 3-4, a win over Khalil Roundtree as well, which is pretty impressive. So he's got 4 wins and 5 losses in the UFC, whereas I think Modestas has got something similar-ish. I think, but yeah, I think has he got something similar? I think it might be 4. So no, maybe not. 1, 2. I think it's 2 and 4. No, 3 and 4. Sorry, beg your pardon. 3 and 4. Yeah, I'm getting his record mixed up. So, yeah, I think that's a fairly good reason, I think, why you would book that fight. The other option, the last one I've got that I would really love to see, Chris Duncan versus Francisco Prado. Prado's quite young into the game. Both guys, believe it or not, have got the same record as well, 11-2. So, both love to strike. Prado's a bit more of a boxer. Chris Duncan can mix it up. He's got a great kickboxing. So I think that's the reason why we should probably see that fight happen. They bang together, said Sai. Like to see Chris Duncan also, says Breezy. Wow. Makayev, question mark. I've left Makayev out purely because I think he's going to be on the Saudi Arabia card fight night. Or the card they're planning on putting together for Abu Dhabi. Because I think they're bringing a fight night to Abu Dhabi in the summer as well. I could be wrong on that, but I'm sure I saw something like that. But that's the reason why I've left Makayev out. Of course, I'd like to see Makayev in a UK card again, but I think they might just save him, personally. So, to recap things, get in questions if you would like to just ask me a few, any opinions. And, of course, smash a like on the video as well. To recap then, the main card will, I think, follow like this. You have, kicking it off, Molly McCann versus Poliana Viana or Jessica Penne. Then you'll get MVP versus Jeff Neal or Gilbert Burns. Then you'll get Paddy the Baddy Pimlet against Drew Dober. Then co-main event, Tom Aspinall versus Curtis Blades for the interim heavyweight title. And then the main event, Leon Edwards versus Bilal Muhammad. So what do you reckon, guys? Get in the chats, get in the comment section. Rate it out of 10. What do you reckon? That would be my prediction. The rest of the fights that I've talked about earlier, Jai Herbert, Trey Ogden, Chris Duncan, Francisco Prado, Modestas Bukowski versus Marcin Prachnio, Nathaniel Wood, Billy Q. I think Nathaniel Wood, Billy Q would be a good one headline in the prelims. But yes, all of those fights will probably be on the prelims. That'd be my reckon. Breezy says, I reckon if he doesn't take much damage, he could do both. I think he's on about Makayev. Maybe. Could be a bit of a stretch. Maybe. Breezy says, David Grant, heal up soon. Yes, indeed. It's another good option to have in there. But at the moment, don't really know the extent of his injuries, which is why I've kind of left him out. Of course, yeah, I think that Dangerous David Grant on the prelims would stack that up big time. So, yeah, what do you reckon, guys? Let us know. Get in touch with us whatever way possible. And, of course, don't forget this weekend. I won't be around there, but, of course, Ash and Sai will be giving you the Epic Fight Night watch along between Erin Blanchfield and Manon Fiorot. The card is absolutely stacked on this main card and much better than last ones on paper. Last card actually was really good. We really enjoyed that one. But yeah. Breezy saying we're gonna get a Modi 300 exclusive. Maybe, do you know what? There might be something else in the works for a 300 exclusive. We might be able to talk to a fighter who's actually fighting on 300, but nothing to be revealed yet. Stay tuned. Make sure you've got the notifications bell rang on the channel and you're following us on the socials as well. The links are in the description, along with the Fight League as well. We're playing there'll be prizes during UFC 300, so you got to make sure you join the Fight League and get involved with that. So if you've not done so already, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button on the video, and we'll see you this weekend. Ciao for now, guys. Much love and good night.